Good morning, children. Welcome back. Today we will be studying our chapter 2, which is according to the syllabus for the first term. So, without wasting further time, we'll start the chapter 2, which is the Northern Mountains. Now, Northern Mountains, as you know, these are the bigger mountains which are found in, actually basically it's a range of mountains which is found in the northern part of our country. That's why it's been named as the Northern Mountains. So in this chapter we will be studying the location of the Himalayas, the climatic variation in the Himalayas, advantages of the Himalayas, classification of the Himalayas and life in Northern Himalayas. So you can open your book to page number 12. Northern Mountains, page number 12. India is protected by a wide range of the Himalayas in the north. This is also observed as the crown of the India. It contains major rivers, hills, mountain peaks, wildlife, etc. The Himalayas extend from Jammu and Kashmir in the north to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. So, as you know, India is actually protected by this big group of large mountains. It's a very long range of mountains, and it's also been named as it's because the way it is there, the position that it holds, as in the top of the country. So we say it is the crown of the India. It is the crown of the country India. It is the crown. You know what's a crown? What the kings wear to show that they are the kings. A big crown. Okay. Now the Himalayas. The Himalayan, which literally means abode of snow. So the word Himalayan actually means abode of snow. Mountain ranges form the northern mountain wall of India. So basically it kinds of forms a border wall or a boundary wall for our country, okay, which is difficult to cross for the enemies. It separates the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau. The Himalayan ranges are the highest mountains in the world. So the Himalayan ranges, they are the highest mountains in the world. Most of the peaks of the Himalayas are covered with snow throughout the year. So all the years, all 365 days of a year, these mountains, they are covered with snow. The Himalayan ranges extend for about 2,500 kilometers, like an arc from Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh. So you know, you have seen the map of our country. So you can see carefully, this is Kashmir and this is Arunachal Pradesh. It forms kind of an arc. Arc is a shape, it is a part of a circle. It's called an arc. So it forms an arc, okay, from the Jammu and Kashmir state to Arunachal Pradesh. The length of this is about 2,500 kilometers. The width of the Himalayas varies between 150 km and 400 km. So the width, okay, the thickness, the area that it covers from north to south, in the different parts of the states, different parts of our country, the thickness varies from 150 km to 400 km. In the east, the Himalayas are narrow as compared to the west. So in the east, they are narrow as compared to the west. They are more broader. But as we go down to the western part of it, we see that in the east, to the eastern part of it, we see that they become narrow. So as from west to east we go, the thickness lessens and it becomes more narrower. Some of the world's major rivers, namely the Ganges, the Indus, the Brahmaputra, the Yangtze Kiang, the Mekong, the Salween, the Sardarya, the Red River, which is in Asia, the Xinjiang, the Chalparaya, and the Tari River rise from the Himalayas. So these are the names of the major rivers which we found in this part of Asia, okay, which is the Himalayas. They are starting from there. They are found in the Himalayas. Climatic variation in the Himalayas. The Himalayan alpine climate varies according to the height. Now you it is very cold in this part of the area. Okay, it is very cold when we have and when climates, we say it is so cold that it becomes difficult for the trees to grow. So normally the trees tend to fail to grow here. You understand? From there we see there is less numbers of trees, less number of bushes, we see less trees there. So in the Himalayas, the alpine climate varies according to the height. It varies according to the height. As we are going down, we are changing, we are getting more cooler and cooler areas. It gets cooler as the height increases. So as the height of the Himalayas increases, the coldness also increases. Okay, so as we are going on, there is an increase, okay, in the coldness. Okay, it gets colder as the height increases and gets hotter as the height drops. So when you are coming down, it is getting hotter, okay, but when you are going up, it is getting colder. Okay, so that is what it is. And not also this, as a result, the temperature and climatic condition in the Himalayas changes very quickly. It is changing very quickly. So that kind of climate, we say it's an alpine climate, where the climate is changing very rapidly, plus there is a decrease in the growing of the trees. We find less trees as we go up to the cold mountain region. The two major seasons of the Himalayan region are winter and summer. During winter, the region receives maximum snow with icy temperature, so chilling temperature, almost like as you open the fridge, when you go into the freezing compartment of the fridge, how cold it is. You can see almost those smoke coming out as if it is smoking. No, it is the coldness of it which is coming out of it. However, their summers are quite mild and cool. So you can bear this summer, it's quite nice, very pleasant. You can see the picture of the Himalayan snow leopard, which is only found in the Himalayan region. Classification of the Himalayas. The Himalayas can be classified in three ranges, which are as follows. These are as follows. Number one, the Greater Himalayas or the Himadri, the Middle Himalayas or the Himachal, and the Lower Himalayas or the Shivalik. Now the word Himadri, actually the word Himadri, the word Himadri is actually a Sanskrit word where the him means the snow. The him here is actually meaning snow. Alright? And Adri is the mountain. So it is mountains which has got snow. Okay, so when we combine these two words, we get mountain, okay, mountains with snow. Alright, so the Himadri is the word, it's a Sanskrit word basically. So the first one we get is the Greater Himalayas. The second which we have is the Middle Himalayas or the Himachal, and the Lower Himalayas are known as the Shivalik. So some amazing facts which we can read here, you can see here. It is written Mount Everest is the highest peak, which is got 8,848 meters of the Himalayas. It lies in the pole. Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa of Nepal, were the first one to climb Mount Everest in 1953. And then we have very proud Indian woman, Vijayendri Pal. She was the first Indian woman to conquer it in 1984. So let us discuss the three classification of the Himalayas one by one. So we go with the first one, the Greater Himalayas. The northernmost Himalayas are also known as the Greater Himalayas or Himadri. It has a width of about 25 kilometers and average height is above 6,000 meters. So the average height of these mountains is 6,000 meters and the width of it is 25 kilometers. These ranges contain highest peaks of the Himalayas which remain snow covered throughout the year. So all around the year they are covered with snow. So you have to get this. This is the one distinct part which separates it from the other two parts of the Himalayas, that it is covered with snow all throughout the year. The middle Himalayas, the Himachal, the Shimalik or the lower Himalayas, they don't have all snow all throughout the year. They get snow when they are very cold. When it's very cold, only then some of the cities get snow. Mount Everest, K2 and Kanchenjunga are some of the high peaks. Kanchenjunga with a height of 8,586 meters is the highest peak in India. Please underline. So the Kanchenjunga, which is 8,586 meters, is the highest peak in India. Dhaulagiri and Annapurna in Nepal and Nanda Devi in India are some of the other higher peaks of the Himalayas. You can see the picture of Great Himalayas here. Okay. So moving on to the next page, that is 14. There are several passes located in the Himalayas. Baralepcha La and Shipkila in Himachal Pradesh, Zoji La in Kashmir, Nathu La in Sikkim, and Bamdi La in Arunachal Pradesh are few of the famous passes in the Himalayas. The word La means pass in Chinese language. What is a pass? Basically, pass is a small passage, small way which helps us to go through the other side of the mountains. So there are basically three mountains which are normally there is no road made. It's very difficult to make roads. But traders, business people, they wanted to do business with the other side of the mountains. So they have found a place, a small passage by which they can go across the mountains and go around the mountains and meet the people and do business with them. So they are known as passes. So they are known as passes. Okay. Now passage. That is a small passage. Comes from the word. You can say passage or a way out or a way out. Okay. And the term La is actually a Chinese word for pass. That is why we have the Nathula. Okay, that is why we have Nathula. That is why we have Shipkila. Okay, and that is why we have Baralepcha. Okay, so the word La here is basically the word for the word pass. This Himalayan range has many glaciers. These glaciers feed the great rivers of India. The Ganga originates from the Gangotri glacier, while the Yamuna originates from the Yamunotri glacier. Rivers like Indus, Satluj, Brahmaputra and Gandhar, etc. originate from the Himadri. Now, what is the word glacier? We learn a new word here, glacier. Glacier is the glacier. Okay, glacier. Now, glacier is a slow moving huge mass of ice. Okay, it's a very big mass of ice which is moving very slowly, and it gives actually birth to a river. So we can say a huge mass of slow moving ice. Okay, it's a huge mass of slow moving ice. Alright, and which gives birth rivers. Okay, like Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, etc. Alright, they are glacier. The glacier from where the river Ganga starts is known as Gangotri, and the glacier from where Yamuna also originates is Yamunotri. Okay, these are the glaciers from where these two rivers, famous rivers of our country, they originate. Now let's come to the other part of the Himalayas. We have the middle Himalayas or the Himachal. The middle Himalaya lie to the south of the greater Himalaya. Okay, it is about 500 kilometers. Now let's, if you see by the diagram, what we see here is that these Himalayas are divided into three parts. They all run parallel. Okay, so we have the Himadri, then we have the Himalayas, and then we have the Shimalayas. Okay, so we can see like this. The first is the Greater Himalaya, or the Himadri. Then we have the Middle Himalayas, or the Himachal, and then we have the Lower Himalayas, or the Shivalayas. Okay, so they are actually there. This is the way they are there in the map of the country. Okay, this is how they are in the northern part of our country. First, what do we have? They are the Great Himalayas, and in the middle we have the Middle Himalayas, and then the lower part is the Shivalik part. Here it is snow covered all throughout, snow covered all throughout. Okay, here we have, there are forests and wildlife, forests. Okay, here also small hills or small mountains, you can say. Anyway, so coming back to the Middle Himalayas, it lies to the south of the Greater Himalayas. It is about 500 kilometers wide. The ranges are also known as the Himalayas. The average height of these ranges is 1300 meters to 5000 meters. These ranges are covered with thick forest of deodar and pine. Deodar and pine are the different kind of wood. Many hill stations such as Shimla, Dalhousie, Manali in the Himachal Pradesh, Nainital and Mussoorie in Uttarakhand are located in Himachal range. These hill stations have a very cool and pleasant climate. Therefore, these hill stations attract tourists from plains during the summer season. There you can see a picture of the beautiful hill station in Shimla. So basically what you want to know here is this. Life is very difficult in the Great Himalayas because it's covered with snow, all snow, no trees, less of life there. But in the Middle Himalayas, plenty of hill stations, plenty of population, plenty of people staying in this. People go there during summers to spend summer vacation. And Lower Himalayas, they also are very pleasant. They also. But here, you should be noticing one thing, that the Middle Himalayas have a lot of forests which are of the deodar and the pine wood. Then we come down to the Lower Himalayas or the Shivaliks. The Lower Himalayas are also known as Shivalik ranges. The Shivalik range varies from 10 km to 50 km in width. The slopes of these hills are covered with thick forests. The foothills of the Shivaliks are called terrain. Foothills mean the very, just like we have foot, the feet are there, and the down at the most bottom part. So at the bottom part of this, we have terrain. This region is known as Shivalik. Okay, they are the foothills of the Shivalik range. In between the Shivalik range and the middle range, Middle Himalayas, lies some extensive valley like Dehradun and Kathmandu. So between these two, between the Middle Himalayas and the Lower Himalayas, we have beautiful extensive mountain valleys like Dehradun, valleys like Kathmandu. These two big, very famous cities, they are located in places between the Middle Himalayas and the Shivaliks. Advantage of the Himalayas. The Himalayas serve us in the following. This this is very interesting and this is very important. Every time a question is asked on this, what are the advantages of the Himalayas? Number one, the Himalayas protect us from the severe cold winds coming from the north. Now if you see the northern Asia, okay, the Mongolia, the Russia, okay, these part of that continent is very, very cold. So the mountains, they actually form a kind of a barrier which stops these cold chilling wind to come to us. Had they been not there, had these mountains been not there, we also could have been equally very cold countries like the most of the European countries which are very, very cold. Okay. They also, number two, they guard our northern borders. The enemies cannot cross over borders easily. Thus the Himalayas act as a huge protective wall. So like a huge protective wall, like a huge boundary wall, they stop the enemies to climb and come across our part of the country, to our country. It's a huge boundary, very difficult terrain, very, very difficult to climb and come down. Number three, this is okay, very important. They check the rain-bearing monsoon winds coming from the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea and cause heavy rainfall all over the northern plains. Very important part, very important here. Why? Our country could have been a very dry country. We could have got very less rainfall had these been not there, had these Himalayas been not there. Because of the Himalayas, what happens? The wind which are coming from Bay of Bengal, okay? Bay of Bengal is somewhere here, okay? This has got water all over. So the wind which is coming, carrying this air, it's called, this air is carrying air, okay? This air is carrying moisture. Moisture is the water which is in the gas form, alright? They are carrying moisture laden wind. When they hit the Himalayas, they won't go across, in fact they turn. They take a turn, they take a U-turn. Because of taking this U-turn, what happens? We get rainfall. We get rainfall. There is a formation of cloud, dark cloud all over this region and thus we get rainfall. So, had these Himalayas been not there, we would have not got the monsoon rain. Our country would have been a very dry country like some part of the African continent. Then the Himalayas are rich in forest which provide us with useful wood and other forest products like medicines, herbs, wax, all these gums. These are very, very valuable forest products. The melting of the snow, number 5. The melting of the snow supplies water to the rivers originating in the Himalayas and flowing to the northern plains. Now these rivers, Ganges, Satluj, Indus, Brahmaputra,